Morning, everybody. I thought I'd do a little short video because it's Sunday morning and I've just been doing my books and just looking at my figures for the last few weeks. And I wanted to highlight to people who are thinking of starting up on the CX the frightening amount of money that you've got to bandy about and do without whilst you wait for your money to come in. And then a look at, if you're seriously about making a full-time living out of this job, the kind of things that it's looking like to me that you're going to need to take. I will say from the first up that my financial circumstances are maybe different from someone who requires like absolute full-time money. But I'm basing this on someone, if I was doing this and wanted to make a realistic wage out of it, because I'm lucky, I haven't got a mortgage anymore. I have things like a car payment and things like that, but you know, £200 or £300 a week is, you know, enough for me to live on, because I don't have that big massive, you know, either weekly or monthly rental payment or mortgage payment, which for a lot of people can be £700-800 a month. I don't have that. But you still want to live, you still want to go out, you still want to go on holiday. So, you know, you probably want to take at least £200 or £300 a week and put that in your pocket, in my position. Other people, they might be needing £500-600 a week because they've got a family to feed and things like that. So I'm going to run through, when I did the figures, the weekly costs for me. Now, some of these figures are up slightly from my own safety margins. But to give you a rundown of the weekly costs for me. The CX, about £32 per week. The insurance for the van works out about £67 a week. Now that does include an excess guarantee, because there's £1,000 excess on the van. And I took out insurance on the excess, if you can believe it, so that if I do have to pay an excess, they'll actually give me the £1,000 back. So, you know, you may not do that yourself. The payments for the van's about £120 a week. The van tax is £6 a week. Goods in transit cover works out £3 a week. Liability insurance, £2 a week. Fuel obviously depends on what you're doing. Last week I spent about £350. But I'm working it, if you want to have full-time money, I'd say £400 a week at the moment, based on the fuel prices, would not be an unusual amount to put in your vehicle. Van maintenance. So, you know, obviously you're going to need to service your van, you're going to need tyres, and you're going to want a little bit of a cash reserve if you know, something goes in it. Now, my van's got a full warranty for 12 months, but, you know, it won't after that. So I'll start thinking about putting the money away now. So I'm putting £50 a week away, which is roughly £2,600 a year, which is going to need 2 services a year, realistically, isn't it? At least. And it's probably going to get through at least 1 set of tyres every year, possibly more. And tolls, you're going to cross the occasional toll bridge. For me, it's like the Mersey Tunnel and things like that, and that Mersey Way thing. I used the M6 toll last week. I didn't need to, but it was saving me time when I was on a decent job. So I'm going to budget kind of £10 a week for that. And then some people do their own books. I use an accountant. Because it takes a lot of things off. It costs me £17.50 per week if you work it up. But they do absolutely everything. I send my receipts and I send my copy of my invoices to them. I have an app that makes it all easy. And that's just to take, you know, save me time and let them handle it, because years and years ago in the past, I got myself in a right pickle with a tax man, and I never ever want to do that again. So if you add that up, you're looking at over £700 a week that you're paying out before you even bring any money in yourself, which is a frightening amount of money, really, isn't it? Now, some people might completely own the van outright, so that's £100 or so a week saved. And to be truthful, I had the money to buy the van outright, but I was advised by the accountant to not do that, to use the business to pay for the van. So I only put like £4,000 down and then took it from there. And if you want to pull yourself in out of that, then if you want to give yourself a wage, say, of at least £500 a week, you're looking, what, to take £1,200 a week on the XCH to give yourself a real decent, it's not brilliant, but it's a full-time wage. So that's a big challenge, £1,200 a week, it's £250 a day roughly, isn't it? And, you know, having done my first week, it isn't always easy to get that. And then some days you'll do more than that and it balances out. And that, I'm basing that on like a 5-day week. Some people might choose to do some weekend work. Now, at the moment, I am not VAT registered. I have applied to be VAT registered. I've been told it can take up to a month. I've had a letter back from them. And I will actually be better off on the flat rate VAT scheme based on those figures by about £96 a week when I get my VAT registration through. So that eases a little bit. I'm going to go for the flat rate scheme because you'll collect 20% VAT for the government. So if I invoice, for example, last week, £1,300, you know, I'll be adding another 20% on that. But 8% actually is going to be mine. The only downside is I can't claim the VAT back on small items, but I can claim it back on the bigger items like the van, etc. Yeah, I suppose people will judge themselves. You have to balance out what you're paying out. I'm looking like I'm going to be flat rate VAT, but at the moment my invoices are going out without VAT, so I'm paying fuel out, I'm paying the VAT on it, and not being able to claim it back. But that will change and will get better. So another thing you ought to consider is just how long you're going to be owed money for and how much you need. I'll be honest, I lent my business £15,000. So I've done a director's loan to my company for 15 grand, knowing that I'm going to be spending a £4,000 deposit on the van. I'm going to pay for the CX. I'm going to pay the deposit on the insurance and everything like that. And I'm still going to have to pay myself a bit of a wage. And I'm going to receive absolutely no money in my business until at least the end of July, really. Because the invoices that I've sent out so far are certainly going to be up to the end of June. Most of them are 30 days and some are 45 days. And then everything I do from, the 1st of July onwards, I'm going to be looking at nearly 2 months. You do a job on the 1st of July, 30 days from the end of the month. It's the end of August before you get any money for that. So the business will only get probably 2 weeks' money at the end of July, yeah. And will probably be owed out, £7,000, so that's a frightening amount of money that you're owed and you can't actually touch it. So you've got to bear that in mind as well. Now, I've lent the company money to see me through during that time. But if you're in a position where you're starting up and, you pretty much need the money straight away, you're going to have to bear that in mind, because you might have to go and see your bank and see if you can get an overdraft or something like that. So although the CX is good, it's expensive to set up. And I don't expect to bear any fruit from being on the CX until at least the end of August, really. I will be, paying out. I have got a company credit card, and I'm using that currently to buy fuel now, rather than go into the cash reserves that I've got. Because obviously you've got 30 days, again, to pay that back. So that's good in that perspective, because fuel is by far my biggest outgoing. But it's not all roses when it comes to setting up. You need to prepare everything that you're doing. This is just the weekly day-to-day running costs. That's not counting kitting out your van and buying the stuff you need, your straps and everything like that. So if you are thinking of going on it, think twice. You need a lot of money behind you. I know loads of other guys have put this on the videos too, but I'm just reiterating, you do need the money. Otherwise, you can end up in a world of shite. I knew this, I planned for this, but if you're thinking of coming on and people say, I had a great day and I did this and I did that, and you do get days where you get a good day, you get days where you get a bad day. I've set my target roughly for about £1,000 a week. And some days I might go out and only do 80, but the next day I might do 300. It's got to average out. I did more than that last week, I'll be honest with you. I had a good week last week because I landed on a lucky job, and that's it. It's a lucky job. You've got to average it out. To do £200 a day, you've still got to graft a bit. But I didn't work late, apart from one day where I did the lucky job. I didn't tramp out. I'm sure I could earn more if I do that. And I am prepared to do it now and again, but, you know, I'm just looking at doing this job 5 days a week and mainly working in the day. But the beauty of it is you can be off when you want. But bear in mind, it's not all roses. And you have got, if you're going to do it properly and run it like a proper business, you got a lot to pay out to set up. You just can't come in off the street with some, you know, and just set up, hire a van and get going, because you ain't going to get any money in. I don't expect to be financially straight with my business until at least the end of August. You know, I'm living on money I have loaned my company. And if I haven't loaned it out my personal money, then I would have borrowed that money off the bank and I would have owed the bank. And I'm, you know, make sure you put money away for your vehicle. And don't forget, I'm assuming I'm going to be not ill or anything, and I'm not going to take any time off in the next 2 or 3 months because I wanted to make sure that the business was solvent and running properly. Bear that in mind. So although it does give you a lot of freedom, you've also got a lot of financial commitment. I hope it helps, this video, and it's a bit miserable, but it just occurred to me this morning when I was going through. I bet a lot of people see a video and say, oh, I smashed £500 yesterday. Think, oh, I'm getting on that. It isn't quite as simple as that. And there are lean times, I am told by other people, you know, to come. This is a good time of year to be on the CX, apparently. So if you do go for it, good luck, but make sure you plan ahead, because I was shocked just how much I had to pay out. But I'm still not going to work weekends if I can help it. All right. I don't mean to be the voice of doom, and I hope you are all having a good time, and you take care.